Welcome to this episode on Christian Apologetics. In this episode, I'll be discussing an article from the book titled Baker Encyclopedia of Christian Apologetics by Dr. Norman Geisler. Now, I highly recommend this book. I think every Christian should have a copy. It's a valuable source for almost everything related to Christian apologetics. And in this video, I will be reviewing, discussing, and paraphrasing the article titled The Historicity of Acts. The article concludes that the book of Acts is confirmed to be historically reliable by overwhelming evidence, and that it was composed by AD 60, only 27 years after the death of Jesus, which is during the lifetime of the eyewitnesses. And that's significant because this is too early for mythological tendency to prevail, according to historian Sherwin White. There is no known example in which a historical event from antiquity has developed many mythological elements within one generation. The date and authenticity of Acts is important to apologetics for this reason. The work of historian Colin J. Hemmer is considered for the historicity of Acts, such as things not written that probably would have been written if it was written later, like the fall of Jerusalem in AD 70, or the Jewish War in AD 66, or the deteriorated Roman-Christian relationship of the late AD 60s. There's no mention of the Pauline epistles or the death of James in AD 62. None of these things are mentioned. However, there are things mentioned in the book of Acts that also indicate an early date, such as the flourishment of the Sadducees, belonging to a pre-AD 70 era. There's also a sympathetic view of the Pharisees, unlike post-AD 90, because of the Christian-Pharisee conflict. Peter, John, and Paul are still alive. The God-fearers in the synagogue indicate pre-Jewish war. Cultural details imply a Julio-Claudian Roman era. Recorded controversies presuppose the Temple period. Paul's prediction in Acts 20:25 indicate an early date. There are primitive Christian terminology. An overall optimistic theme seems unlikely after the fall of Jerusalem and the Christian martyrs. The book seems to end at the current time of authorship. The latter chapters record insignificant details, which imply an unreflective reproduction of current events. There's further support for historicity, coming from undesigned coincidences, such as geographical details that are assumed to be known by the audience, specialized details like the titles of administrations, etc., knowledge of local routes and boundaries, the correlation of dates of kings and governors. There's common geographical knowledge that, when elusively mentioned, shows that the author is familiar with it. There are cultural references that indicate a contemporary setting. There are interrelated complexities of interlocking information, which makes it possible to reconstruct the events in history. And the article goes on to mention specialized knowledge which is recorded in the book of Acts, such as the spelling of names that was unique to the time period, knowledge of the empire's corn supply, the Jerusalem topography, Roman military organization, Cyprus as proconsular, Amphipolis and Apollonia as stations. All this and much more show the author was either very familiar with the area and time, or had a special source of information. Historical and archaeological research confirm things like crossings between ports, the river port Perga, the location of Lycaonia, unusual details about Lystra, the port of Attila, and the list goes on, showing that the author correctly names routes, ports, cities, names, laws, customs, shipping routes, weather patterns, islands, individuals, and the like. So, in summary, we see that the book of Acts is important to Christian apologetics because it was written early, which means that the Gospel of Luke was written even earlier. And since the Gospels are written within the lifetime of the eyewitnesses of Jesus and the miracles, it shows that they are not dismissible as mythological embellishment. The overwhelming evidence confirms that the book of Acts is an early historical account. The amount of detailed confirmation exists for no other book in antiquity. The evidence shows that the book of Acts was composed by AD 60. And the book goes into much more detail than I have in this video. Buy yourself a copy. It's affordable and it's well worth it. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions and have a great day.